Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Tuesday, and we're going to have our first in-season tournament game today, NBA Cup game against the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. I've got the latest lineup news, I've got the ref report, and I've got reaction to the Raptors 905 loss to College Park Skyhawks last night on YouTube. Yeah, all right, let's go. All right, first we'll start with the injuries. First with our team, Emmanuel quickly, it was divulged to us during the stream last night, watching the 905 game. Blake Murphy of the Raptors show in there with us in the chat. And it is kind of fun hanging out with Blake in the chat so far. It's been pretty cool. Pretty well attended 905 game in the chat by the Raptor Freak family. Pretty cool to see everybody in there palling around and watching the game together. And Blake told us during the game that Emmanuel quickly had aggravated his elbow from the game in the Lakers game. He is questionable for the game tonight, just so people know as far as things. We'll see what happens. I mean, this is what I said when Blake said it in the chat. If Emmanuel's out, at least we have very capable backups, and we've been kind of using them already, and they're kind of revved up. And in some ways, this may be good for Shed if Manuel's not going to show up, for him to play a big role tonight, because he's kind of the last couple games been kind of sidelining as far as his minutes and production for the Raptors. So we'll have to see. Maybe this will be a good thing and a blessing in disguise. Who knows? I mean, you want Scotty and Emmanuel and your best players out there, but we got to make the best of it. Next man up. And he is questionable. It could very well be he does actually play, but it's probably not going to, just so y'all know. Garrett Temple is doubtful for today's game. It's due to his back. Jacoby Walter did re-injure his right AC joint, and he's going to be reevaluated in about a week, so he's out. Scotty Barnes, of course, is still out right now due to his orbital fracture. And Bruce Brown is recovering from his knee surgery still. He'll remain out for a few weeks. And Coach Rajakovic is saying that Kelly Olynyk is a few weeks away also with his back. So looking at the depth chart for the Raptors, who's likely to start for us tonight? Davion Mitchell in the place of Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, RJ Barrett, and Jakob Poeltl. So that should be our starting lineup tonight. Hopefully, maybe Quickly does play. We'll see. But it doesn't sound like he is. All right, on Milwaukee's side, there are injuries, key injuries. And this was found out yesterday that Damian Lillard will miss the game today due to concussion protocol. He had taken a hit this weekend. And, well, apparently he's not allowed to play tomorrow or today because of his concussion protocol. So no Dame Lillard tonight. That's going to be interesting. Also, no Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is out due to his ankle. So he's already ruled out for today's game. Good news for Bucks fans, though, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, his knee, he's listed as probable, but he has been playing recently, even though he's injured, and it is likely that he will be playing today. He's probable. Junior, also probable for tonight with a back injury. And then Andre Jackson Jr. is probable also with a hip injury. So if I'm looking at the depth chart for the Milwaukee Bucks, and we're seeing who they're going to start. Wow, it could be very interesting to see who they start in the place of their backcourt that's not there. Of course, probably maybe Gary will get back in the starting lineup with Lillard and Middleton out. So it might be something like maybe it's DeLon Wright, Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez starting for the Bucks. Of course, the Bucks this year have Doc Rivers as their coach still, with Darvin Ham as the assistant. AJ Green is on their bench. Bobby Portis, who had his home burglarized by someone in Milwaukee in recent weeks, he is their backup center still. Ryan Rollins, Pat Connaughton, Tyler Smith, Liam Robbins are basically their bench. So the rookie Tyler Smith also on their squad. So yeah, there's your injury report. No Dame, no Chris Middleton, no Emmanuel Quickly. Basically is what we're saying today so far. All right, the refs. Let's get into the ref report right away. Ref report undefeated, and it's not looking totally good for the Raptors tonight, just so y'all know. It's nothing like Ed Malloy or a Scott Foster, but it's not that far from it on the sliding scale of things. The crew chief for tonight is number 60 out of Memphis, Tennessee, James Williams. James Williams is in his 15th season as an NBA ref. His favorite TV show is Snowfall. He likes the movie Shawshank Redemption. His book, a favorite book, is The Soul of Money. He likes soul food also. His favorite app is Ref Masters. He'd most like to visit Africa. His bucket list is to become the mayor of Chicago, and his hidden talent is rapping. That's interesting. I didn't know this about James Williams, so he can spit bars. This is a great entry for the referee talent show that I keep proposing for the NBA. Adam Silver, if you want to make the refs more likable and you want to spruce up the All-Star weekend, let's have an NBA ref talent show, and let's get people like Kugat to pull a rabbit out of a hat and get James Williams to spit bars on the mic real quick. That would be fun, man. Seriously, I want to see what James Williams does. Let's make these referees more humanistic so that people aren't so mad at them for their calls. Seriously, James Williams enjoys reading, sports, movies, travel, working out, and biking. Yeah, James is not in the favor of the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. Our record with him, we have the best record with James Williams today, by the way, is 49% winning, which is above our franchise winning record. So he has been a positive net for the Raptors in his career. But the Bucks win 55% of their games. So it's 49-55 for the Milwaukee Bucks in the split with the crew chief, James Williams. The second ref is one ref that we have seen this year so far, one game. We did lose that game, of course, because we've lost a lot already. And that is the very experienced Rodney Mott, his 27th season, number 71 out of New Albany, Indiana. Rodney is a no-nonsense ref. He's actually a ref I very much have a lot of respect for. And in some ways, he's maybe the one that I trust the most out of this ref crew, honestly. His favorite TV show is Blackish. He likes the movie Shawshank Redemption. So this is the Shawshank Redemption crew between James Williams and Rodney Mott, loving that movie. I wonder if they watch that movie when they're hanging out in the hotel as referees, just hanging out on the road. Hey, let's put Shawshank in again, James. All right, for sure. Let's do it, Rodney. Does that stuff happen? I'm just wondering. Favorite book is World Without Cancer. Rodney Mott enjoys vegetable stir fry, y'all. His favorite app is eBay, and he most like to visit Jerusalem, and his hidden talent is interior design. Now, I don't know how that talent would transfer to a referee talent show, Rodney Mott. Maybe you could make decisions on color swatches or something like that, or say this is what this piece of furniture goes with this room and this decor and this era. I don't know, Rodney, and maybe that won't be the best entry for the referee talent show. Just so you know. Rodney Mott is a U.S. Navy veteran with 3 years of active duty and 3 years in reserves. He holds a bachelor's degree from San Diego State University. Yeah, and on this week of Remembrance Day yesterday, we salute you, Rodney, for your service defending the United States and giving service to the U.S. Navy. Yeah, let's see. Rodney, just recently, we lost with him in one of our games so far this season, and his percentage dipped under the Raptors franchise win average to 47.1%. Of course, the Raptors win 47.4% of their games right now. I think that might have changed, actually. I should go adjust it because we have been losing quite a bit lately. Let me just look at it really fast. I'm always curious to look at it, and I'll adjust it. Hang on. Franchise index. It's 473 at this point, so it has dropped at least 1 percentage point. All right, but yeah, Rodney is 47% win percentage with the Raptors. With the Bucks, it's 52%. So he favors the Bucks 47-52. It's a similar split to James Williams, the crew chief. But yeah, Rodney's on the up and up kind of referee. And once again, just like Tony Brothers, if you work hard, you do things right with energy, and you're busting your ass, he will help you out. He won't go just totally against one team. I've seen this with him. So he'll give you a chance. And that's what we got to go off of. The third ref is a bit problematic. It's Musa Dagger, number 28 in his 7th season out of Syria. Musa has not been a kind referee to the Raptors in his history. His favorite TV show is America's Got Talent. He likes the movie Coach Carter. His favorite musician is Drake. Favorite book, A Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He likes to eat sushi. His favorite app is YouTube. All right, that's a good one right there. You like to watch the YouTube. He most like to visit Thailand. His bucket list is to explore Europe with his wife, and his hidden talent is playing the piano. Now, that would translate real good to the NBA All-Star referee talent show. if you came out and played some little ditties on Tickled the Ivories for everybody out there. Musa, you might have a shot. Who knows? Who's going to win that NBA referee talent show? I'm going to keep putting this out in the ether. And who knows? When it comes one day, y'all will know that Raptors Freak created it. All right. Musa is a native of Syria. He moved to the United States in 2006 at the age of 15. He is a former owner of the Brewberry Cafe in Anaheim, California. And Musa Dagger enjoys playing the piano, playing pickleball, traveling, and spending time with family. Are you playing piano with your life, Musa Dagger? It's what it sounds like. You're just like Nick Nurse. Yeah, he's not a good ref for us, guys. He's in the bottom 10 of refs in this whole entire league as far as percentage for us. We win 40% of our games with Musa. And meanwhile, the Bucks win 2 out of 3 games at 67%. So it's 40 to 67 is the split. He is the worst ref for the Raptors today, for sure. And I have seen him do bad things to us in the past. So not overall the best ref crew as far as things, but better than it could be. I mean, it could be Ed Malloy. That would be a disaster. So James Williams, he's a fun guy. He's interesting. In some ways, he can be a ref manipulator. I've seen him do it. But for the most part, he's pretty on the up and up. And Rodney Mott, I have a lot of respect for and trust. Musa Dagger is not a good ref for us. I'll just say that. That's your ref report for tonight's game, the first NBA Cup game for the Raptors of the season. In fact, NBA Cup action starts tonight for the first time. This is the slate of games. Atlanta Hawks are in Boston to play the Celtics. The Heat are in Detroit to play the Pistons. Hornets against Magic. Knicks versus Sixers. That's a big one. It looks like the Knicks will probably go into Philly and bust up Nick Nurse's team. Raptors at Bucks, Suns at Jazz, Mavericks at Warriors, and Timberwolves at Trailblazers. That's the full slate of NBA Cup action for today. Of course, that means we're going to have the amazing, crazy, colorful courts that they're going to be playing on, and the city edition and different jerseys. Very interesting look to the games tonight. It's always fun. They're going to amp it up a little bit like they had it last year. We'll have to see if the newness of it lasts to the second year, and the novelty of it does not wear off, and that people actually still kind of like are, wow, the NBA Cup is actually pretty cool, and it does amp up the competition. We'll have to see. Yeah, tonight we'll have to see if that court hopefully is nice and ground in so that it's not slippery. This may have been my biggest criticism of the NBA Cup last year, is that a lot of those new fancy colorful courts were very slidey because of the paint and not really been used that much. So in some ways, that's a dangerous thing in this whole racket of the NBA Cup that they're doing right now. I don't know why my phone's ringing. I'll just ignore it right now. But yeah, those are your ref report, NBA Cup tonight. And let's see what's going on the chat, y'all. Yeah. All right, Trevor J's first in. He said, you will never understand the damage you did to someone until the same thing is done to you. Jeez, man. It is true. You go out there and you do stuff, what comes around goes around in some ways. So it's probably better to just treat people right and treat people respectfully and try and just do things the right way, for sure. Yeah, Trevor, man, your words of wisdom, sometimes they're very like, you guys have different styles. Randolph is very kind of comforting and kind of like just positive. Leo's kind of playful and kind of like, good about advice for life. But Trevor sounds vindictive sometimes. Trevor's like, if you don't do this, you're going to be in trouble with this. So in some ways, he's a little bit more warning and foreboding than other people as far as with his words of wisdom. Either way, I appreciate Commissioner Jay, the Commissioner of Fun, and hopefully you got back to Florida okay. A safe trip back from California to Florida in the last little while. Trevor's saying, happy game day. Let's beat the Bucks and Doc. Let's go. That's right. Let's beat Doc Rivers and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And let's show them what the Raptors are all about. That's right. We have a good chance. I mean, the Bucks have the same amount of wins as us, and we just have one more loss than them. It's a really weird time. I was saying this in the Raptors Freak chat last night on Facebook, that the Raptors are the bottom of the league, and we have not been at the bottom of the league at this point in the season in a long, long time. And that's kind of annoying, but also, if we're looking at it, well, if we're going to be at the bottom of the league, that means we're going to have a better chance to get somewhere with the draft this year. But yeah, we are absolutely the 30th team out of 30 record wise in the NBA right now as far as things. And it's a little bit dismaying, but also at the same time, it's kind of like, well, whatever. Who cares? Now, ESPN has something interesting out. They've done a mock draft. And well, even though we're at 30, they've got us picking at 3, and they've got us picking the younger brother of Ron Harper Jr., Dylan Harper, on their mock draft right now out of Rutgers. They're saying a slew of injuries has opened the door for Toronto's young core to see significant action, which should benefit the Raptors in the long term and position them nicely at the top of the draft lottery, a place most expect to find them in May. Adding star power alongside Scotty Barnes will surely go a long way in their rebuilding effort. Part of Harper's appeal is his intrinsic versatility. He is a talented scorer and passer and has the size, 6'6", and strength to defend multiple positions at a high level. Harper was steady in his college debut and will draw plenty of eyeballs this season alongside Ace Bailey as scouts home in on Rutgers in the coming months. Home in, isn't it? Hone in, hone in, home in. I'm trying to think if that's the right way. Anyway, NBA teams will want to garner a better understanding of Harper's projection as a lead guard, his scoring in the paint, and what caliber of shooter he is. He was a career 34% shooter from 3 and 62% from the foul line. That's no good. Nike Elite Youth Basketball League. He has a major platform to answer those questions at Rutgers. Once again, whenever ESPN is making mock drafts and they're sending us who they think we should take, I'm always suspicious of it. And I'm just like, okay, really? Dylan Harper? I mean, we are familiar with him to an extent because Ron Harper Jr. was on our team for a bit, and he was putting his brother on blast like crazy during his time in his Instagram stories. So I've seen a lot of Dylan Harper highlights. And I'm not going to dissuade that he is probably the more talented Harper brother of Ron Harper's Sr.'s 2 kids. But I don't know, man. In some ways, I would like the Raptors to, well, I'm going to think they're going to be a top 4 pick this year, no matter what. That the Raptors will probably, well, not no matter what. Hopefully things can turn around, maybe better. But if we are going to be in the lottery, we should be in the top 4 percentage-wise because of different things. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I prefer Ace Bailey myself, and if we can strike and get him, I would prefer that. But ESPN wants us to take Dylan Harper. I'm a little suspicious. I'm always suspicious of that kind of stuff. Trevor J saying this Sunday at 5 p.m., WNBA draft lottery. Yeah, I read that thing that you posted, and it's very explanatory of what's going to happen. There's 4 teams in the draft lottery for the WNBA, and they're basically the 4 that didn't make the playoffs, and they do the ping pong balls, and they mix it up. And then the 5th team that'll pick in the draft will be the Golden State Valkyries, the brand new expansion team. So watching what they do with the WNBA, with the entrance of the Valkyries into the league, is helpful for us to see what we should expect for our WNBA team when we start our year. Now, once again, it's sad because in some ways we should be in on this draft right now, because if we had not rejected the first attempt by the WNBA with MLSE and Ed Rogers and what happened there, we would be on the schedule to be going into the league with the Golden State Valkyries right now. So it's a little bit annoying because I don't like being a year set back just because of MLSE's rejection of a WNBA franchise. That really annoys the hell out of me. And in some ways, we should be in this draft and in this process right now. It really is Ed Rogers III's fault. And them saying, oh, this is not economically feasible. And they really picked summer concerts over housing the WNBA in the Scotiabank Arena. So that's kind of what happened there. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how the process goes and how the expansion draft goes, and also, all the stuff that's going on. It's weird that they do the WNBA draft lottery in November, and they don't even have the draft until January. So, or not even January. They don't have it till April almost. Like, it's crazy. They have it in April. So they know their picks for like 3 or 4 months without taking the picks. So the draft lottery is like way before the actual draft. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah. Trevor's saying that Cleveland is a even dozen and 0. They have not lost this year yet, and they've won 12 in a row. That was a real bona fide team that showed up to Toronto on opening night and kicked our butt. And, well, they've continued to do so. I saw a game with them the other night where they were down in the 4th quarter, and they came back and won. It was a game where the other team had a real good chance to beat them, but they folded, and the Cavs came and protected their undefeated streak so far this season. It is very impressive. This is a win streak that they've never ever done as a franchise into a season. So there's a lot of promise and hope in Cavalier land right now. That's right. Kareem's doubling down on this. He's saying Cleveland sadly has figured it out. The combination of Jared Allen and Mobley and Mitchell and Garland is pretty high level, but I hope they periodically all catch the fever early every week until April. Yeah, I mean, they've had different guys go in and out of the lineup. They had a lot of injuries last year that were problematic, Darius Garland in particular. Um, I don't know. I guess a lot of this is the Kenny Atkinson factor. They didn't really switch their team too much as far as personnel. They just got a new coach, and I guess Atkinson, coming from the school of Kerr and different things, is really getting the best out of them right now. So maybe that was a really good coach's change from Bickerstaff to go to uh uh yeah, to Kenny Atkinson, because Kenny Atkinson had some really good success in Brooklyn when he was the head coach there. So, and once again, I will remind everybody, Kenny Atkinson coached Jared Allen and Karis LeVert in Brooklyn. So it's like some of these guys already knew him and kind of knew what he was all about. So it's an interesting team. In some ways, I like them on top of the Eastern Conference more than seeing the team from Boston up there. Yeah. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Happy game day to you, MJ. Let's make it a good one. Let's see if we can surprise people and get our third win of the season and the first one on the road in an NBA Cup game against the Milwaukee Bucks, who are having issues. Let's just put it that way. They're having issues. Some people would say we're having issues too, but we're not really. In some ways, we're really running with a nice feeling around the team, even though we're not winning. As far as like consistent connection and vibes are very good on the Raptors team right now. Meanwhile, it's the opposite with Milwaukee. So we'll have to see if that is a factor in how these two teams perform tonight. Whether the Milwaukee Bucks dysfunction and not really good vibes are going to be a factor, while the Raptors are still having good vibes, even if they're not winning. And Darko's got them running well. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Brian's here. Good to see King from To The Point. Y'all check out To The Point. Dap to you, Brian. Dap, dap, dap. What's up, Freak Nation? Raptors are top 5 in assists and off boards, offensive boards. Hopefully they can raise them up from 28th in the threes. With the injuries, hopefully the Raps can pull this out. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm okay with whatever outcome happens this year. The one thing that I would like the Raptors to do this year is get more than 25 wins. If we can scrape together and somehow just get 26 wins by the end of the year, I will be happy. In some ways, some people will say, well, that's no good if we're trying to get the absolute top pick or the playoffs. Who knows? We'll just have to see. In some ways, we have nothing to lose, and we just got everything to gain. And we're just going to keep going on this path of rebuilding the way we're supposed to, and not skip any of the baby steps or the important steps we've got to do. And that's the goal for this year. And in some ways, people may be confused because we're not winning a whole lot, but it is just how it is in these kind of situations. That's right. Let's see. Carlos saying, morning, Lex, and most gracious freaks. Good morning to you, Carlo JS. Always good to see you in the chat in the morning. And Cool Cat's here also. Coach Cool Cat, good morning to you. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Game day and day one of the mid-season cup. I see the Big Bucks sponsor. It's this year. I see the Big Bucks sponsor. It's this year. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Yeah, Gary Trent has had a tumultuous start in his Bucks career so far, where he was a starter. He's apparently still hurt on the down low like he was for the Raptors last year. And he lost his starting spot, but because guys are hurt, it's very likely he'll have to start tonight in the place of either Middleton or Lillard. So, yeah, it's been a rough start for Gary in Milwaukee. That guy, the Zodiac GM, who's on Twitter, his account's blowing up because he's really, really good at determining synergies between players and coaches and athletes around all sports. He does all the sports, but his NBA stuff has been really on point recently. And he's just saying that, like, Lillard and Trent have the same signs that kind of complement each other, but their signs do not go with Giannis and Chris Middleton. And that this if we really want to get technical about astrology, some of these teams maybe want to start looking at astrology signs and trying to figure out whether guys fit together personality wise. Because in some ways, the Zodiac GM account on Twitter has been really on point with determining what's working and what isn't. And you see it on the court and you're like, holy crap, maybe this astrology stuff is real, man. So yeah, it's interesting. The two former Trailblazers that used to be teammates are actually have good signs to fit with each other, Lillard and Trent, but they don't have good signs with most of the Bucks otherwise. It's kind of like they stick out as a sore thumb. Those two dudes exactly there. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Kareem saying Kate Middleton and Lame Lizard. Okay, you're calling Chris Middleton Kate Middleton? That's kind of funny. That's weird. I've never heard that burn on him before. Lame Lizard are both out today. Bucks run half court offense, but are extremely slow. I predict Gary Trent Jr. will forget he plays for the Bucks and will push Lopez after he takes his headband. You know, this is something you're bringing up right now that I didn't think about until the other day. Is that Gary Trent's on the same team as crazy ass Brooke Lopez, who was going after him? Was it Brooke or Robin? It was one of those two Lopez crazy sideshow Bob looking motherfuckers. It was one of them had a problem with Gary Trent's headband. He said something like he was talking to me. Well, now that Gary's on your team, do you get to like talk to the headband all the time while you travel around in the plane? Like, is there a Lopez brother on the Milwaukee Bucks plane with Gary Trent Jr.'s headband, just like holding it and saying, yeah, that was a good lunch. Yeah, I will make sure I do extra push-ups today. You know, I don't know. That'd be so weird. But yeah, I've thought about that Gary Trent's headband is teammates with the Lopez. That's kind of crazy, man. That's kind of crazy. Randolph is here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Most gracious Randolph Phillips. Game day blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. If you don't like the road you are traveling on, pave a new one and make it comfortable for others. There you go. I like that. In some ways, he's alluding to being a trailblazer and going a way that nobody else has ever gone before. If you don't like the way life is going, well, be innovative and maybe be a little bit of a maverick and make yourself do something that maybe nobody else has ever done before, and you will pave a way for others to follow you. That's a fantastic words of wisdom. All right. Thank you, Randolph Phillips. And let's go see what Leo's saying this morning since we got the first two wise men checking in. Leo Routens is saying, be the reason why people believe in beautiful souls, kind hearts, and good energy. There you go. I like that. In times of trouble, in times of weirdness, and like what the F is going on, this is a great way to be. Be a beacon of light and positivity for people in your life that you care about, and they care about you. And as far as just being somebody that's there for support and showing, it's going to be all right. I got you, even though things are really chaotic and crazy or weird all of a sudden. And that's a great, great thing. We can be setting examples in society. In some ways, the energy you put out, like we just said, comes back to you, like Trevor said earlier. So, let's be out there being looking out for the vulnerable. Let's be out there looking out for, women and minorities and people that are different than us, because we need to be vigilant about this with the way that things are going with the rise of the alt-right and the weird ass stuff that's going on right now. There's a lot of brainwashing. The media and the social media has been utilized very effectively by Russia, the Russian bots, and the very, very ultra rich. And it's kind of sad that things have gotten to this point. But that's the thing. We can be the beacon of light in the middle of all this and the shining examples of what is right and just, even if nothing else in the world seems right and just. I'll say that right there. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going in the chat. I appreciate my three wise men. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. That's right. Jimmy's saying Dame is out. Get this dub. That's right. Dame Lillard's out. I mean, that may help things, honestly, for the Bucks. Who knows? Wouldn't that be weird? Dame Lillard's out and they start winning because of that. I don't know. But I agree with this, Jimmy. This is an interesting in-season tournament game because, the way this season has been going for the Raptors, I don't have very high aspirations in the mid-season cup. But on the other hand, and I was saying this last night, the Raptors have a realistic chance to be 2-0 in the NBA Cup by Friday night. Because if we can take care of business on the road against Milwaukee, who's weakened right now, and we can take care of business at home on Friday against the Pistons, those are two very winnable games and could really shape things for us to be a surprise in the NBA Cup. And it could be very fun. We'll have to see. Either way, once again, I always like to see improvement. We got one NBA Cup win last year. I'd like to see two this year. And I'll say that's a success because we built on what we did last year. And that's what I want to see right there. That's right. That's right. Let's go. Fiercely saying our record doesn't represent our team. Brighter days ahead. Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, we're 1.89 per winning percentage. It's so weird, man. Seeing the Raptors win percentage in the standings right now is like, whoa, ooh, ooh. I mean, I don't want it to represent us. It definitely doesn't show the work we're doing. And as many people have been saying around the league, we're a lot better than our record. We are. Brian's saying, tired of seeing this hashtag tank for flag from Raps Nation. Shaking my head. Well, some people just are. I don't know why we have such a strong contingency of Raptors fans that are so into tanking. Like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Why do y'all like tanking? Like, that just means like a long season and we're going to lose a lot. Like, why are you excited about this? Why do you guys get out all these memes with warfare machines and Aaron Baines sitting in them? Seriously, why do y'all do this? Why do y'all do this, tank meisters, Thomas the Tank Engines out there? Why do you do this? Seriously, do we need to do this? Do you have too much gleeful fun with this? I don't get why y'all are like this. Tank fans, tank people. Go live in a tank. I don't know. Tank. James Garner. I don't fucking know why they're doing this shit. It's so silly. It's so silly. Jeez Louise. Yeah, it's annoying me too, Brian. But I also understand we're going to take the best of whatever situation we're in. If we're in a bad record the end of the year, well, let's get that good high draft lottery pick. That's what I'm saying right there. I'm sick of it too, man. Infamous is saying, salute, freaks. Dame being out may be bad for us. Dame is a huge liability on the defensive end. See, that's what I was kind of alluding to with Jimmy's comment there. I love you, Popa Positivity. So happy to see you. But yeah, it could very well be much like when AD went out in the Laker game, that the Lakers got a kick in the butt and they played better with him out, which is interesting. And I could see this, that maybe Lillard could actually make them worse and we have an easier chance if he is playing. I know that goes against all kind of like things we learned about Dame Lillard in his Blazers career, but he's not on the Blazers anymore. He's on the Bucks. And his absence could be actually a positive for Milwaukee. Honestly, Infamous might be right. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes tonight. Smooth saying, no way the NBA allows Cooper Flag to play for the Raptors. They want him in Utah. That's probably why they're doing that with the mock draft. Well, once again, we know Masai goes off script, and this is maybe why they are punitive towards us at times, is because Masai's going to go do what Masai's going to do. And honestly, once again, it's the lottery balls that are going to determine this. And well, Atlanta got the lottery ball last year in a very like low percentage statistical way. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Nothing's guaranteed until the lottery, and we'll have to see what happens. I mean, that does seem like that's a good fit for him to be on that team as far as in the States. And maybe they see him as a big, huge star and they don't want him to come up here. But I don't want to get conspiracy theory about this. There's one area that I still feel is somewhat kind of on the up and up is the NBA draft right now. I know at times in the history of the NBA, it's been dubious if it has been on the up and up. But for right now, I just want to believe that something has still got integrity in this world at this point, and that the NBA draft lottery is one of them still. I mean, they do have Ernst & Young there, and they're overseeing it as accountants, and usually that's a good sign. Kaz is saying good morning. Good morning to you, Kaz, on the road. Hope you're doing good, my guy. Kareem saying, I thought Ulrich would produce a lot more in the G League. He's more raw than I thought. I can't wait until Jamal Battle, Jonathan go down there and create some good stability for the 905. All right, Kareem has brought up the game from last night in College Park. Skyhawks defeating the Raptors 905 to put them at 1-1 for the season. To be honest, this was a game the 905 absolutely should have won. They made so many very, very bad errors. And there, I have like 3 stars a game, and I have 3 stars that I'm like, I don't want to see these guys on the 905 anymore because I already see reruns of some of the BS from last year and the unprofessionalism of our 905 team last year with people like Javon Freeman Liberty and different people like that. So let's switch gears real quick. and react to the 905 game last night. They lost by 5 points, but you know what? They lost it at the free throw line. Absolutely dreadful free throw shooting by the 905. At one point, they were shooting 30% from the line. Now, the problem with missing free throws in the G League is the rule is you only take one shot, and if it goes in, you get the 2 points. If it doesn't go in, you miss out on the 2 points. So it's so important for these guys to hit these free throws. And in the first half and even into the second half, they were not taking their free throws seriously, and they were 55%. Now, they missed 9 free throws last night, but it's not that they missed 9 points for that. They missed probably about 20 points because of that, because a lot of them were worth 2. Some of those free throws were worth 3 points because the person got fouled on a 3-point shot and they didn't take the time to make the damn free throws. So we missed on 3 points sometimes for 1 free throw miss. So I'm telling you, these guys could have blown out the College Park Skyhawks if they had just made their damn free throws. And in some ways, listen, you're in the G League. So many people down there are hungry to get to the big show. And you ain't going to get up there if you can't make your damn free throws, the basics and the fundamentals of basketball. And I would say this to Coach Andrew Jones. You need to bench the hell out of Charlie Brown Jr. and Kennedy Chandler if they are going to continue to not make their damn free throws. In fact, I can't stand Charlie Brown. I've seen him play 1 game for 905 yesterday, and this joker is not professional. He's lazy. He doesn't get after it. He's a big body, and he's athletic. He looks talented from that point, but this dude is not a professional. This guy is not taking his life seriously, and in some ways, he's half-assed with his fundamentals. And also, he has an ugly-ass jump shot. Ugly, unfundamental-looking, ugly jump shot. So I can't stand Charlie Brown. Do not start him ever again, Andrew Jones. And in some ways, if he's like our special add-on like Justice Winslow for this year, as far as a veteran, he's the wrong person to be teaching our young Raptors 905 players out there, because seriously, this dude has such bad habits. In some ways, I'm watching him out there. His body language is horrible. He's like walking real slow from everywhere. I don't understand these guys. I know maybe they're tired, so they take their time to walk to the out of bounds line. Like Kennedy Chandler took like 10 minutes to walk just from the center of the court to the sideline to get the ball from the female ref. And she's like right here. And he's just like walking so freaking slow. Like he's trying to, like, these guys seem lazy as fuck. I can't stand Charlie Brown. I cannot stand Kennedy Chandler after the second game either. Because as far as I'm concerned, looking at Kennedy Chandler, he looks like the second coming of Javon Freeman Liberty. Hero ball, doesn't pass it, tries to do too much by himself. And we don't need that shit around our team right now. I don't care how talented he is. I don't care how good he did in the first game we had as far as going and balling and making his shots. We don't have time for this kind of energy around our 905 team. And honestly, Coach Andrew Jones, I would start benching guys for missed free throws, because you have it's not like everybody on the team. There's certain guys that are so overly talented than the other guys. Kevin O'Banner could do a better job out there than Charlie Brown. So give the guys who are behind these guys a bench. Maybe we don't see Charlie Brown ever start again. Maybe we see these guys get a little bit less time because they're not acting professionally out there. And in some ways, the unprofessionalness of them led to the game being chaotic and looking ugly. And then in some ways, they've dug themselves in a hole that they had to try and come back in the second half, and they just didn't. And they didn't put it together and win it. So in some ways, I'm so pissed off at Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, I want to say this to you. Yeah, you're in the doghouse with Snoopy, motherfucker. That's the way I look at it right now. That's right. All right, let's see. The stars of the game for this game with the 905. My number one star last night was Montreal's Quincy Guerrier. Quincy was really solid and consistent, as noted by some of the Raptor freaks in the chat last night. Quincy was in 33 minutes of the game, 23 points, 10 of 12 from the field. They only missed 2 shots in a crazy-ass chaotic game. That is something. 2 for 3 from 3. So he shot a good 3-point shot, and he made his only free throw. So I can't get mad at Quincy for being unprofessional at the free throw line. Quincy also got 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And he was a +6 overall. No, he was just real solid. He was real smooth. He had a real rim rocker jam in the middle of the game, a great highlight. Quincy Guerrier taking it to them and throwing it down hard. I was really proud of him. And the Skyhawks announce crew, was saying, yeah, it's pretty cool when you have a guy who plays for your country playing for your country. And yeah, he's on Team Canada on the undergroup, Quincy Guerriere, and he will be playing for Team Canada under Coach Nathaniel Mitchell very, very soon. Coach Nathaniel Mitchell recently was announced as the head coach for the under Canada team that's going to be competing for Team Canada in the very near future. And Quincy is a part of that squad. So yeah, I love it. 10 for 12, big monster dunk, 8 rebounds. What's not to like, Quincy Guerriere? You're a badass, man. You're like the antithesis of Charlie Brown. The second star is the maligned and subjugated Brendan Carlson. And it's interesting. Brendan had a pretty good game last night, but I have some beefs with him also. 8 for 15, great shooting, 4 of 7 from 3. In fact, he came out bombing and he hit 2 big threes right away at the beginning of the game. And Blake Murphy quipped that OKC is going to go and steal him if he keeps playing like this right away from our G League team because he's going to just get picked up. Now that's the risk we have because of where we put Brendan Carlson in our roster, taking the two-way away from him. Him being just a G League player, he could be called up to another team in the NBA. But I'm not worried about this, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a second. Brendan did miss his only free throw, so he is getting a mark for that. 8 rebounds, 2 assists, one block, a -2 in 32 minutes with 20 points. Carlson was a force. Carlson at times dominated down low, and at times he got pushed around also. At times, Carlson would have the ball in his hands, and another player would come and just take it right out of his hands because he wasn't strong enough to hold it. There were also a couple times where it looked like Brendan Carlson kind of tipped the ball in on the other team's goal, and they scored. Seriously, there were a couple times where he had a hand on the ball, and somehow the ball went into the other team's basket. That's annoying to me, that kind of stuff. But I do see him doing a pretty good job of meeting and coming at people. There was one point in the game where he tried to do a Vince Carter impression of a Frederick Weiss dunk over some guy, but he didn't have the hops and he kind of didn't make it. But there's a mix of a lot of good with the bad with Brendan Carlson. And, I just like that he's working hard. He's still got to establish more of a presence physically and taking up space. And this is maybe my biggest gripe with him. And the reason why he is going to have a hard time in the NBA is because he can't hold anybody. And as much as you guys were like, we need to pick him over Bruno Fernando, this dude would not be able to hold a regular center in the NBA with their strength because he's just not strong enough. And that is the biggest problem with him. Y'all can love the 3-point shot and be in love with this and this about him. But if he can't hold space with the 4s and the 5s of the NBA, he can't play at that level, y'all. And I'm going to say that. That's why I'm not worried about him getting picked up by another team. He could be a specialist as a 3-point shooter just off the bench, but he's going to be a defensive liability no matter what, at least right now until he figures it out. But either way, he shot really well last night, 8 of 15, had 20 points and 8 rebounds. And you know what? He was one of the better guys, 4 of 7 from 3. I'll take that, Brandon. I'll take that. My third star of the game for the 905 game is Tyreek Key. Once again, Tyreek Key came in late, 14 minutes only, but he was a perfect 3 for 3, 2 of 2 at the 3-point line, and he made both his free throws also. So in some ways, I'm looking at y'all for making free throws and just being solid players in some ways. Tyreek did not do anything else but get 4 fouls. He was a +3 with 10 points in 14 minutes. And I like this guy. As Blake told us in the chat last night, that he came from Belgium, that the Raptors actually invited him to come to our tryouts, that the ones we were talking about where you had to pay $250 in 905 tryouts, and they wanted him to come, and he did really well, and he made the team. He's coming out with a certain swagger. There's certain things he does in crunch time that are very, very confident, and I like. He's a weird guard because he's not super tall, but he's very thick. He's like a thick body. And so he's got a lot of physicality and strength, even if he's like a shorter guard. So he's a weird player build, but I like Key so far, and he's been one of the shining stars on the 905 so far this season. So there's my 3 stars of the game: Guerriere, Carlson, and Tyreek Key. Yeah, going over the rest of the stats, like Shamshe. Shamshe only got in there for 14 minutes, 1 of 3 from the field, 4 rebounds, no blocks, a +3 with 2 points. Yeah, he kind of had just a tip-in putback. He got his hand up there and he tipped it in. There's a lot of stuff that Shamshe was doing well last night as far as boxing out, running the floor, using his wingspan to deter the Skyhawks from getting in the lane and trying to shoot over him. Him and Disu are out there together. They look like twins, and they're nice little like combo of big forwards kind of standing on either side. They could be very imposing as both very good shot blocking players. But yeah, Shamshe is still coming along slowly, Kareem, and it's just going to be that way. The man's 18. He's the youngest player in the NBA, and he's just going to have to be brought along at the right speed. And everybody wanting everything all at once for Ulrich Shamshe, you're just going to have to be patient. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to be patient. DJ Carton was pretty good in this game, honestly. He could have been one of the stars if he had shot just a little bit better. He did get a double-double. He had 6 turnovers. That was another problem. 7 of 18 for DJ, 1 of 5 from 3, 1 of 3 at the free throw line. So he was a part of the problem in the free throw line. 9 rebounds, 10 assists. So he's 1 rebound away from a triple-double. 1 steal, 6 turnovers, as I said, 17 points in 33 minutes. There was a point in the game where I was like, why is Kennedy Chandler the primary ball handler? Because honestly, he's a shooting guard without a point guard mentality. In some ways, he's not a very good passer. I noticed that's why he shouldn't have the ball in his hand first. He's a great finisher. He's a pretty good shooter. He's a good offensive player, but he's not a good playmaker. And in some ways, that was a problem in the middle of the game where Andrew Jones was letting Chandler be the point guard. And I'm like, no, don't do that. And as soon as he switched to DJ Carton handling the ball primarily, better things happened as far as movement, motion, and cuts and playing off each other. Because that was the problem. They fell into that isolation. I'm going to do everything by myself. I'm in the G League. I got to make it on my own. And I'm not going to use any of my teammates mode. That's shit that happened last year under 2 years of Eric Curry on the 905, where they're not playing as a team. And that's why I'm annoyed with Kennedy Chandler right now. I don't want you to handle the ball coming up the court, but DJ Carton can pass you the ball once it gets up the court, and he deems that you're the best option at that point. Because we saw way too many times last night where Chandler was calling his own number and forcing the ball against multiple defenders on the Skyhawks side, and it just didn't turn into any good results. So, yeah, we're not having this again. We went through Freeman Liberty last year. And Chandler, you better get your act together and play as a team. I know the G League ecosystem is tough because you guys all have the same goal and y'all are all trying to get the same place, but you need to showcase that you can play as a team because honestly, listen, Andrew Jones is supposed to be playing Darko's system, and Darko's system is a team system. And if you guys are going to try and be individual players in a team system, trying to do too much like Kennedy Chandler did last night, well, I don't see any future for you in our franchise. Maybe you're trying to make it to another team or something, and that's why you're trying to do that. Either way, it didn't look like Darko's system too much last night at times because of selfish isolation play. That's what I'll say to that. Kennedy Chandler was 8 of 15 from the field, which is not a bad shooting percentage. He had 25 points. He missed 3 free throws, including one that was for 3 points. So he, by himself, probably lost us about 7 points at the free throw line, and that the margin was 5 points that they won by. So I'm sorry. I'm going to harp on these free throws that y'all miss, especially when they miss so bad, and it doesn't look like y'all care, and you're being careless with your fundamentals. Seriously, there's a problem there. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, a +8 at 25 points in 35 minutes. Dude, you could have gotten a star if you weren't trying to play so much hero ball, is what I'm going to say. Charlie Brown, absolute fail. Do not start this guy again. Please, Andrew Jones. 2 of 9 from the field, 2 of 7 from three-point land, 0 of 2 at the free throw line. His free throw misses were absolutely dreadful. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers, 6 points, and 38 minutes. He had 6 points and 38 minutes, and this guy's supposed to be a scorer and a talent, so he just looked like a goofy jabroni. So, yeah, I'm Lucy. I'm putting that football in front of you, Charlie Brown, and I'm picking it and pulling it out of your way, and you're going to fall on your head, you blockhead, Charlie Brown. Sorry, man. I'm not a fan. I'm surely not. And, he's been in this league for a couple of years now on different teams, and he hasn't stuck anywhere. And I understand why, because this dude is not taking his basketball career seriously. You need to have a certain level of professionalism and dependability. And Charlie Brown, you ain't got it, man. You ain't got it. Dylan Disu off the bench, 14 minutes, 1 of 3 from the field. And that was all at the three-point line. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, -5 with 3 points. Him and Shamshe got the same amount of time out there. And Disu was a little bit better than Shamshe in some ways. Miles Burns and doing some good things. He was 2 of 3 at the free throw line, though. He missed one free throw, 1 of 2, 1 rebound, and 6 points in 11 minutes. Kevin O'Banner only got in for a minute. And I'll say this, Drew Jones. Kevin O'Banner's a steady pro that will do things right, kind of like DJ Carton. So play Kevin O'Banner over some of these jabronis I've just been calling out. Seriously, you need more O'Banner out there. He's a hard worker. He gets after it. He has some shades of Justin Champagnie when he was a rookie on the Raptors as far as getting after the offensive boards. And I think you should play more Kevin O'Banner. Honestly, put him in, coach, is what I'm pleading with you right now. Tyler Perry, 1 for 1 from the three-point land, 1 for 1 from the free throw. Not 5 points for him in 8 minutes. Not a very long stint for him. And Evan Gilliard came out for 7 minutes, missed 2 threes, got a rebound, an assist, a steal, and 0 points at a -10. So, yeah, that's your Raptors 905 team report from the box score. Yeah, not a fan of Charlie Brown. No, it ain't a great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. No, it's not. It ain't a great pumpkin, no. And Kenny Chandler, watch out. I'm watching out for you, man. You better stop doing your JFL impression, is what I'm going to say right now about that. Yeah, so and on the other side, it was nice to see Kevon Harris on the Skyhawks. Of course, former 905er Kevon Harris had a pretty good game, 17 points, 6 of 17 from the field. But their rookie guy, Joyner, was the real story on the other side. 30 points, 10 of 17, 5 of 10 from 3. He was the guy who put the nail in the coffin at the end with a huge 3 that they weren't guarding up on him very well. And he hit a 3, and boom, he kind of won the game for the College Park Skyhawks. Of course, we're going to play them again tomorrow, guys. We got our second game against them. The Raptors 905 will hopefully even the score and be 2-1 after the game tomorrow. And hopefully they'll play a lot better. Don't start Charlie Brown again, please. They actually had the brother of Sam Hauser on this College Park Skyhawks, and he's like a forward. He's a lot taller than Sam Hauser, and not a bad three-point shooter either, as far as for what I saw out there. Yeah, so there's a 905 report for you guys. If you didn't see the game last night, that's kind of what happened around the game last night. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. No. That was Kareem. Okay, I see that Shaq Lindsay's here. Awesome to see him in the chat. Here we go. Carlos saying Atkinson knows how to use the big guys well. I think he has a really good relationship with Allen specifically. And, Allen is such a useful defensive player that, Atkinson may have Jared Allen doing a lot of really big key stuff to help them be a very tough team to score on. It's just Jared Allen's that kind of defensive player. And there's a lot of trust between the coach and that player, is what I'm thinking. Trevor's saying it was nice being in the 905 chat with everyone. Yeah, it was fun. We saw He Who Shall Not Be Named for a second there, but for the most part, it was our guys from the RFF in there, Monique and G and Trevor and, yeah, Kareem and everybody. It's always nice to pal around with you guys and off time from the stream time and catch up with you guys. And we'll do that again tomorrow night when we play the Skyhawks for the second time. That's right. Brian's saying, dang, Lex, sounds like you're agreeing with Beyond when we did the pod. Laughed my ass off. Well, I want to say this, and I said this to Coach Roach the other day in the 905 chat, is that, I didn't think that we'd get hurt like this. So a lot of my changes from my 38 win total prediction for the Raptors this year have completely changed with the injuries to Scotty and Emmanuel being out so much. So I'm seeing what's happening now, and we didn't get off to the start that I thought we would as far as wins. And I think we're playing really well. I'm not upset about that. It's just that I have to amend my thing. And, in some ways I have to say this is the worst case scenario. I'd want it to be 26 wins. But if we can get above 30, I'm all for that. But, yeah, it sucks because in some ways they made the prediction off of our roster being healthy, and I did too. But if our roster is not going to be healthy for most of the season, a lot of people missing at different times, and we can't go full strength out there. Well, in some ways, I have to amend my win total that I said on your show. And that's the main reason why there, Brian. And it's not that I'm agreeing with Beyond, because I didn't agree with him at that time. If we're a healthy team, we're going to do better than 28 wins, is what he said. But because we're not healthy, well, I have to amend what I thought, and that was 38 wins. So I'm just hoping we can get better than 25. That's all I'm hoping about. Kareem saying the media team for the G League in Atlanta is abysmal. They were running replays during live action. Blake Murphy is also a stand-up comedian during official reviews. Yeah, Blake was funny at times. He was talking about how this is the record for the most time for challenges in that G League game. And honestly, that game went on forever. It started at 7 and it got done almost at 10 o'clock. And they were taking a long time. At one point, it seemed like the referees for the 9:05 game last night were just chilling, listening to Bruno Mars. They're just sitting there, just like listen to Bruno Mars. I'm like, what are they even doing? They're not even looking at anything. It's like they're visiting with the timekeeper and stuff like that. I don't understand what they were doing at one point. Like the challenge wasn't even totally clear what was going on. And the other thing that was weird was the Skyhawks used both their challenges very early in the game. And then there was a moment later in the game where they probably should have called the challenge, but they couldn't because they had a challenge. They were successful. They had a second challenge and it was successful, but you only get 2 challenges. And they couldn't challenge something very crucial late in the game, but it didn't matter. They won anyway. But yeah, those refs were really taking a long time. Blake was funny and Blake was very helpful. I appreciate Blake Murphy being in the chat and being available to answer our questions. It's very, very cool. We were talking about them keeping the stats of the time that it's taken out for as far as like challenges and how long they're taking and stuff. That was pretty interesting. Yeah, the production values of the Skyhawks crew was weird. Those replays were annoying. And yeah, the cameraman was shaking the camera at times. And as Panser came in and said, it's too dark. The camera is too dark. And he had a whole critical assessment of the job that they were doing down there. It is what it is. As I said in the chat, it's like the level of community TV in some ways. And every team's going to have different stuff that's a problem as far as like with their broadcasts in different ways. But it's all good fun. It's the G League. We're all learning is what we got to say on that. We're all learning, Kareem. We're all learning. Carlos saying, I'm fine with Harper, but if we could get Bailey, ooh, boy, I would be so happy. Laugh out loud. So it is Rutgers we're looking at. There's a reason why Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have been hanging around Rutgers lately quite a bit, hanging around there quite a bit. In some ways, I'm not totally wanting to get Dylan Harper because I don't know how he feels about the Raptors with, his brother's history with us. And in some ways, it may not be an issue at all. It could be that Ron Harper Jr. has a lot of nice things to say about the Raptors, and it just was a sad thing where he got hurt and we had to cut him because of his injury that year that he was on the Raptors. And he's come back in the NBA. He's played summer league for the Celtics this year. But it could be, I don't know how Dylan feels about the Raptors organization after his brother's kind of already been here. That's part of the reason why I'd be like, well, let's get one of the other guys in some ways. I think that in some ways also Dylan Harper's player build isn't exactly what we need for our team. And I want to look at bigs. Honestly, I still want to get a really talented center or power forward for this Raptors team that can kind of be the replacement to get in training for, post Pirtle Raptors, that kind of thing. I mean, Shamshay is the first project in the 4 or 5 range on the position chart, but we should have another one, seriously, because we want to get some good size for the future and good quality, talented size near the top of the draft, if it's possible, That's what I'm kind of thinking there. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay is in the house. Let's see what Shaq Lindsay's saying today. Dame is to blame. It rhymes, so it must be true. Shaq saying Gary Trent Jr. didn't want to rebuild, but now he's on a sinking ship. Yeah, I'm going to say this once again. Y'all may have this weird idea about what happened with Gary this summer, but I need to tell y'all the truth. They didn't offer him a contract to come back here. It's not like he chose Milwaukee at a discounted price over a Raptors offer to stay on the Raptors. We didn't call him, y'all. We need to understand this. Gary never got an offer from us. We just let him walk. And it's not like, in some ways we're seeing, he's still hurt and he's still not producing in a consistent way like we would hope last year. And I don't like that because I like the guy and I want him to do well in his NBA career and do very well, make money and have a long career. But we got to understand this, Shaq Lindsay. Don't get mad at Gary because he decided to go to Milwaukee because we didn't give him a choice to come back here. There wasn't ever an option. Bobby Webster never called him and said, yeah, we're going to give you this contract and you can come back. So just so you know that. It's not that he made a choice. He took what he could get out there at that point, and that money was not that good that he's on this year. He's on a 1-year contract with the Bucks, and it's kind of like a Tracy Murray in the first year of the Raptors kind of thing where you got to prove your mettle, and then you'll maybe get a payday at the end of the year, and that's kind of what's happening to him right now. So yeah, I'm not mad at him. It's not that he didn't want to rebuild. He would have been perfectly happy staying in Toronto. We didn't offer him anything, is what it is. Not go saying Milwaukee Bucks, more like Milwaukee sucks. God. All right, Gerald. All right, Gerald. For that one, even though you're a professional and you take stages across the GTA as a comedian, you're going to go with this one today? All right. I'm that kind of guy will give you dunks for this because this is silly. This is so silly and funny, but I like it. I like it. Milwaukee Bucks, more like Milwaukee sucks. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Naco the Nacho. You're hilarious, man. Where is Naco? There he is right there. I'm going to give you a 10 for this one. You're at 60 now, Naco. Trevor's saying, let's do the classic card early. All right, let's do the classic card. That's what Commissioner J to do. We're at 9:50 on the chat timestamp. Let me get the card out and we'll see who it is. I'm going to take it right from the edge here. Who is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. This may be too easy. This is not classic. Once again, this is not totally classic. Here we go. Who is this, guys? You can see it from far away. You probably know who it is. I don't even want to show it to you too close. It might be too easy. Some of you can see it even from there. I should put it even further down. There you go. Andrew got it. Of course, it's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown called Giannis a child. That's the news with Jaylen Brown right now. He called Giannis a child because he did the little like shake your hand and then went like that. You know how you do that. You like act like you want to dap somebody and then you take it back and you're like, ooh, burn. He did that to Jaylen Brown in the game the other day when the Bucks were playing the Celtics. And he did like a whole wipe his head back. He's like, like that. And it's embarrassing. It's kind of like, what are you doing, man? Your team's getting your ass beat by the Celtics and you're doing some childish ass shit like that. And so after the game, Jaylen Brown called him a child. Giannis is just a big child. And then they told Giannis what he said. And Giannis like, he called me a child. He's like, well, I mean, I do love my children. And I do like to play with them and stuff like that. He's like, I don't care if you called me a child. I guess I'm a child. But in some ways, you could tell Giannis cared that he called him a child. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing, man. But yeah, Jaylen Brown, classic card of the day. Andrew, 100 points for you for getting the classic card. David, are you here? You want to write this in, David? David jumped out as soon as he saw me come in. That's fine. We love you, David. I hope you're doing very well. Let's see, Jaylen Brown. And it's going to be Andrew getting it today. Rookie of the year, Andrew. Getting in there and getting not a classic card, but a Jaylen Brown card. There you go. Does anybody like Jaylen Brown so much? Like, are you fans of Jaylen Brown? You can get this card at the next Raptor Freak meet and greet, which will be, well, actually, maybe not at that one. I don't know if I'm going to haul the cards to the G League game. We're going to go to 9:05 Westchester Knicks, December the 8th, 2 p.m., Paramount Fine Food Center. If you want to come and hang out with me and the other Raptor Freaks at a 9:05 game and watch Prince Shamshay and the rest of the young Raptors rookies, come to December 8th, Paramount Fine Food Center, Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. It's Westchester Knicks playing them. We're going to get together and go there as a group from the channel. And we'd love to have anybody come. If you don't, even if you're not a regular in the chat that talks, if you're just somebody who watches at other times, if this is fitting for your schedule and you want to come down and say hi and pal around with us and watch the game in person, you are more than welcome. That's December the 8th, 2 p.m., Westchester Knicks at Paramount Fine Food Center against our Raptors 905. So, yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. All right, let me get back to the timestamp where we're supposed to be in the chat. Trevor J., thank you for calling out the classic card of the day. My guy, that's right. Shaq Lindsay saying all this talk about trading Giannis is BS. Bucks will never trade him. It would set them back for several years. But is it up to them? I mean, we've seen what's happened with Dame Lillard, way he forced himself out of Portland. I mean, I could see this happening. Seriously, you could say it's BS, but we've got to understand this. Giannis has shown very good loyalty to his team, and he's taken all these contracts, Supermax and stuff like that. And yeah, of course, Milwaukee wants to hold on to him for as long as they can. But in some ways, he is absolutely unhappy. Since they won their championship, it's not been very fun there for him. And there are a lot of signs that he is ripe for the picking as far as things. His favorite place to go would be Miami. But there's a lot of people speculating, like, what if he went to Oklahoma City, which is a weird one to me? What if he went to the Nets? And then some of the people are saying, well, if he went to the Nets, he wouldn't have anybody to play off of, and it'd be even worse for him there. So I don't know. You may be right because there's no landing spot around the NBA that's actually maybe any better than Milwaukee right now. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Definitely the franchise does not want to let him go. But we know this league, the way it is, superstars can be very manipulative in standing on what they want to stand on. And we'll just have to see if Giannis is like that, or is he just going to be uncomfortable and complaining and just kind of like, this sucks. Y'all need to do better, ball boys. We all need to do better, ball boys, and people that put up the hoops. We all need to do better. Is what that guy's saying. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying Shaq Lindsey. That's not true. We didn't give him an offer. I'm sure he would have stayed if we'd offered him even a little something. Yeah, yeah. Gary would have probably stayed if we'd given him a little bit of contract, but not giving an offer to Gary allowed for Grady to get in his spot right now. And that's probably what it is right there. It's like, okay, we like the signs of what we're seeing in our rookie from Kansas. Gary may need to like move on to his next spot. And I think that's what happened right there. I think that's exactly how it went down. Carlos saying at Stargate, Aaron Rose is reporting the Raptors gave an offer in season last year. The Raptors gave him an offer in season last year, Aaron Rose? I haven't heard about this, and in some ways, I don't totally trust Aaron Rose. Now, what was the offer? This doesn't make any sense. Gary wasn't playing well enough for them to give him an offer. I don't know. I'm skeptical of this. First, I haven't heard this at all at any point. And second of all, I don't totally always trust Aaron Rose, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, we can look at it logically and think, this doesn't make any sense. He's not playing well. Why would they give him an offer? They weren't giving offers to people like Pascal and OG, and they were about to walk. Why would they give one to Gary? Seriously, no, I don't think that's true, Carlo. I would want to see the link to Aaron Rose reporting that, because I didn't see this. I didn't hear any of this. In fact, I think I heard from Jordan Bolton, from Gary's best friend, that they didn't offer him anything. And that's somebody I trust even over Aaron Rose of SI and his little way that he does things with his journalism and something like. All right, look, Kareem saying at Shaq Lindsey, the Bucks don't want to trade Giannis unless they get a huge haul. Unfortunately, this is out of the Bucks' hand at this point when Giannis asks for a trade. Yeah, it really kind of makes their trading bargaining chips not as good, and they puts them in, the leverage is bad. The leverage is bad. And in some ways, this is the kind of shit that happens where, you get two Williams and Alonzo Mourning not coming to see you. That's the kind of stuff that happens with this. That's why you don't want to get to this point. In some ways, Giannis is in the Vince Carter kind of place right now with where we were with Vince Carter, near the end. And that's the thing that's scary about it for Bucks fans. In some ways, you got to please this guy or have some sort of success or have things good around him. But honestly, I don't think it's the coach. I think that we've proven at this point there's something deeper that's wrong with the Milwaukee Bucks franchise. And them switching their coaches like they have, that's not what the problem was, obviously. Because if the problem was Budenholzer before and Griffin in the middle, well, the problem ain't solved with Doc Rivers. That's the damn truth. That's for sure. Yeah. Stargate saying these are the same who used to say fade for Cade. If you like tanking so much, go watch Fury and shut the fuck up. That's awesome. I like that, Stargate. Yeah, it's stupid, man. It's so dumb. In some ways, it's like, I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. Like, anyway, I don't want to talk about it too much. Tanking philosophy and like mentality is just really weird to me. Shaq saying the Bucks will want Scotty, Grady, RJ quickly, and Darko plus picks. Well, I don't think we're making an offer. Honestly, I don't want Giannis anywhere near us. I may have wanted this 5 years ago, but I don't at this point. I feel like the Raptors are good with what we're going with and what we're going forward. If we've learned anything from the Knicks this year, is don't over correct or overdo things around your team, because you'll screw things up. And in some ways, the path with Scotty and RJ and Emmanuel is looking really good right now. So there's no reason for us to do anything or get involved in this. In fact, I have a lot of serious questions about whether Enacomto is good for your team himself. That it may be like his childlike behavior and the way he kind of carries himself. He isn't that kind of leader that you want around your team. He may be a very good player on the court, but in some ways, maybe it's not exactly right. I don't know. There's something wrong with this team, and it doesn't have to do with the coaches. It has something to do with their main player, I think. And in some ways, I'm not interested in Giannis. The other thing is you got to understand, when players start acting this kind of way, what's to say they won't do and repeat the same kind of shit when they go to the next team? I mean, look at James Harden. Come on. James Harden has shown exactly who he is as far as like with things in this league and how he'll just like say, I'm out. Well, Giannis is showing this kind of action right now with Milwaukee. How can the next person trust him that if they struggle too, he's not going to do the same damn thing? So I'm a firm no. And in some ways, I say we got Shamshay. We don't need Giannis Antetokounmpo at this point. No, we don't. No, we don't. Smooth saying Knicks will offer OG and Mitchell Robinson for Giannis if he becomes available. I could see that. I could see that. And I don't know if the money lines up exactly right for that, but that would make the Knicks a crazy ass team. It really would. That'd be so weird if they did that to OG too. It seems like that would be the deal that would probably work the best. That might even line up money wise because OG's contract is really big at this point. Shaq saying Giannis is a generational talent that can't be replaced. Yeah, I'll agree with that. He's also a guy who's already won a championship, and he may not be as hungry to get a second one as we all think. That's the other thing I'll say about him. Once you get one, in some ways, it's like it's so hard to come back and get the right things around you, especially when you play like for a team for the Bucks. Yeah, like the Bucks. And Randolph saying, Lex, let's hope Dick and RJ put up 30 apiece tonight, and the supporting cast plays at their best. This would be a win. Yeah, I want RJ to shoot better tonight. He's had a little bit of a shooting slump in the last couple games as far as he's not shooting. He's not making as much as he's missing. I mean, he's not making it. Yeah, he's not making as much as he's missing. In some ways, RJ's been fantastic, and I like a lot of what he's been doing. But yeah, tonight we need to take care of business. In some ways, it'll be very interesting to see how the Raptors come to this game as far as like taking it seriously. Is it going to be a little bit more amped up and more important because of the special court, the special jerseys, and the specialness of the NBA Cup and this game meaning a little bit more? I mean, the Raptors have so much to play for to try and win, whether it's winning a regular season game, whether it's winning an NBA Cup game, whether it's winning a road game in the first place. I mean, and once again, the Bucks are a little weakened, so maybe there's the opportunity to actually make something happen that maybe not be possible. Yeah, we need Grady also to show up too. And it could very well be, we'll have to see who's guarding him. It'd be interesting, Gary Trent versus Grady Dick tonight. That may be a very interesting matchup tonight. Infamous is saying us missing the draft this year may be a blessing in disguise. We may have a shot at a real superstar in Juju Watkins. So she's not coming out this year. So she's more likely to come out next year. Well, the one thing I will say is the one thing that they're doing with the WNBA, just like they do with the NBA, is these expansion teams aren't allowed to pick a top pick because Golden State's going to pick fifth, and that's where they're designated. So I think they'll do the same thing when we come in. And and this is the other thing, we're coming in with Portland. So there's going to be at least two teams coming in on our cycle. And in some ways, it may be that we're after Portland and the 4 lottery teams, and we end up actually picking 6th in that draft. So, and I don't know if Juju Watkins is going to be available at that point. So that's the thing we got to understand. They're going to let the lottery teams pick before the Raptors, not the Raptors, the new WNBA team for Toronto. They got to pick those 4, and then it could even be Portland Roses or whatever they're going to name their team ahead of us, and then we pick. So we may be 5th or 6th as far as picking in that draft. So I would love that blessing in disguise, but man, nothing's guaranteed in any drafts, whether it's the NBA or the WNBA. Trevor J saying Raptors players are learning what it takes to beat the best teams in the NBA. They're all going to be badass. You can count on it. I love that attitude. That's great. I love that attitude, Trevor. That's a fantastic attitude. Kareem saying 905 plays almost exclusively their starters, not allowing their bench to build any kind of rhythm in the game. You'd think we had Nick Nurse coaching the 905 with the minutes distribution. Ulrich needs minutes. I'm going to agree with you and on your take as far as to an extent, but not totally. This is the thing. Andrew Jones can pick a different 5 every single game and start a different 5 every single game. He's not necessarily looking for a stability of these exact 5 guys every game. Brendan Carlson will probably start most games that he's available for sure, because he's the best starting center. But after that, he can plug in and take out whoever he wants. Now, it's more likely Carton and Carlson will be starters for the 905 as much as possible, unless Shed comes down and takes that starting point guard spot from Carton. But then you could even put Carton at the other guard and start them together. And Charlie Brown honestly should not be starting tomorrow night. In some ways, he got a chance to start. He did not play well, and he needs to go back to the end of the rotation and try and work his way up the right way through everybody else. And they can pick different people to start every game. He doesn't have to have a static starting lineup. So we'll have to see. Shamshay once again, Kareem. Let's not get impatient about Shamshay. This is like so early on, and we need to allow things to happen the way they're supposed to. This kid, first of all, like I've said many times, he's come to North America just recently for the first time. It's not like he's been in our continent very long. And he's got a culture shock and a little bit of an adjustment just to regular everyday North American life. And also, on top of that, learning how to be a professional correctly. That's one of the most important things they're working on him with is the behind the scenes stuff. As far as this is how you eat to take care of yourself, Shamshay. This is how you need to sleep. This is the pitfalls of being an NBA player in this world and what you should avoid. There's so much more kind of orientation and schooling that he has to go through than somebody like Jamal Shed, who's a 4-year player at Houston and has been in the United States for a long time, his whole life. And Shamshay's coming here, and he's coming straight from the Basketball Africa League, not any kind of college career here. So in some ways, there's a lot to this. And also us taking him so late in the second round of the draft this year, it kind of says that, we kind of jumped the ball and jumped in line to get him. And he may not have been actually NBA ready or should be around the NBA until next year. So everything he's doing right now, let's not get it twisted. He's ahead, even if it's not a whole lot and it's little by little trickling out as the season goes on. So we got to understand the whole situation here. The kid's only 18. Come on now. He's only 18. We'll see it. We'll see it. It's coming. Smooth saying at Shaq Lindsay, the rumblings are that Giannis is not happy there. Yeah, I know he's not. You can tell he's not, because why would he be happy with this losing? He was so mad that they got swept out of the playoffs 2 years ago. And then obviously last year was a disaster with Coach Griff and then Doc Rivers coming in and not being any better. In fact, it's weird to see the coaches' win percentages between Griffin and Doc Rivers. Coach Griff had a way higher win percentage than what Doc Rivers has done since he took over after he got fired. And that's the sad, tragic thing about the NBA right there is Griff didn't do anything wrong. He actually was getting the team to win. And now since he's gone, well, maybe there is something called karma in this kind of thing right there. That's right. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying money that he generates for the Bucks is ridiculous. Yeah, he does a lot for that community in Milwaukee. In some ways, Milwaukee is not really put on the map in a lot of different ways. Well, Giannis is one of the ways it gets put on the map right now. So, yeah, I'll agree with this. Nako's saying, when I simulate the draft, we keep getting the 5th pick. I think Common Mulak is who we want if we don't get the first pick, but it's early. Yes, it is early, and I don't do any of my scouts of the day until the calendar year flips to 2025. And then I'll start looking at whatever college players you guys want to put in front of me. I'll go do a quick response of initial reaction to the players because I don't see any of them because I don't watch college. And I'll give my assessment of what I think about these players on the show. It's kind of a fun little segment, but we won't do it now. It's too early. We'll do it next year. We'll do it next year. Shaq Lindsay saying he's under contract. He ain't going nowhere. That in some ways we could see an ugly situation with Kawhi Leonard, like that kind of stuff happen. We'll have to see. In some ways, he's got a lot more pull than we think, obviously, because in some ways he's been kind of running that team as the superstar. And as somebody said on a broadcast recently, they don't agree with superstars running their teams. I guess it was when we were playing the Clippers this weekend and the way that Kawhi manipulated things after his exit from Toronto. Well, you get what you get, Clippers, and you let a superstar player be your GM and make the personnel decisions as far as like making trades like SGA for Paul George. Well, you get what you get. And that's what it is right there. That's why GMs make GM decisions and players need to make decisions on the court in the middle of the game. That's the difference right there. That's it right there. Yeah. Carlos saying, I think the issue will be on how Giannis will integrate on a new system that is not created for him. Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, this is a lot of like what ifs that still some dominoes need to fall in order to get to a certain place to be able to see this. It could very well be Shaq Lindsay's right and that Giannis is going to stick around because there is another side to this. Even though he's complaining and grumbling, it could very well be that he's trying to motivate them to be better because he's also shown signs that he's very loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks organization with the way he's signed extensions and big, huge supermax contracts and stuff like that. And he's also said that he would like to play there most of the time. But, it is confusing signals as far as like, oh, I'm not happy with this and not happy with this. Obviously, we know he's not happy with their record right now. We know he's not happy with that because this has been a big fail, a big, big fail so far this year. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying Dame will be gone before anything. So you think they'll get rid of Dame Lillard before Giannis Antetokounmpo? That's probably right. As far as like the priority list for the franchise and the front office, they're probably much more willing to let Lillard go. Some people, revisionist people, are saying the place where Milwaukee screwed up was instead of trading Drew Holiday out to go to Portland, they should have traded Chris Middleton to the Portland Trail Blazers in the place of Drew Holiday. And then the Celtics wouldn't have a championship right now from last year. Seriously, if they hadn't done that. So yeah, Milwaukee failed last year in their whole Dame sweepstakes in some ways, partly because they maybe held on to Chris Middleton and they could have sent him instead of losing their great defensive guard, Drew Holiday. Well, a lot of history could have been a lot different in the last year. That's for sure. A lot of it. That's right. Smooth saying at Shaq Lindsay, it was reported that he prefers Brooklyn or Miami if he's going to be traded. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. That's what I've heard too. Stargate saying at Smooth, I said the same thing yesterday about the league not going to allow the Raptors to get anything higher than a 6th pick. And I still believe that. I think B&M know this, hence why they pick. You think B&M, Bobby and Masai know this too, hence why they pick. I mean, they can't stop us. If we're really, really bad with our record and the ping pong balls come out that way, we will get the pick. You guys got to stop being conspiracy theory on this, because in some ways it's not, they're not going to do this, guys. They're not going to do this. I know that you guys think, I know that they're like not fair to us in a lot of different ways, but in this way, this is not one of the ways they would do unfairness to us. So we just got to see. And if they have a higher pick than the 5th pick in the draft, you'll see that I was right for next season. We'll have to see, though. Smooth saying at Shaq Lindsay, this is coming from a reputable insiders. Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the noise is manipulative. Some of it is, in different ways to try and mess up the Bucks in different ways, and they're pretty messed up right now. It is what it is. It's a similar kind of thing to Embiid leaving Philly because Philly's all messed up. Because there's some rumblings of that too, that Joel's not exactly happy on the 76ers, and he could be moved at some point. So there's a similar kind of case between the two of them in some ways. Yeah, this come from reputable insiders. Shaq Lindsay saying he can say he wants to go, but remember he's under contract. That's the same thing that Rob Babcock said right before he traded Vince Carter. That's the exact thing you said. He's under contract, and we want him to play for us. And then Rob Babcock traded him, even though he did want to stay. He still said, no, I already went and made the trade. Rob Babcock was an idiot, man. He was such an idiot. Anyway, Kareem saying Giannis begged for Dame. That never panned out. Giannis wanted a coaching change. That never panned out. Only thing left for Giannis to do at this point is ask for a trade. Loose lips sink ships. Yeah, and I feel like this is another case like LeBron with the Lakers in years past, like Kawhi with the Clippers, where the superstar is having too much pull, and they're very evident that they're involved in the decision making, and they're not helping them. They're not making good decisions because maybe they're not the person who should be making the decisions. Scotty will have some involvement in Raptors decisions, but he shouldn't be paramount and forefront and demanding like this is what we need to do, or my Uncle Dennis will tell me we got to go to LA. That kind of stuff is not a good action. And Bobby and Masai don't allow for this. Obviously, if they did, well, Kawhi Leonard might have stayed in Toronto, but they don't. They don't kowtow to this. They know the job titles and keep them separated. But the Clippers, well, they pay for it. They pay for it because of that. That's right. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying the Bucks will want everything but the kitchen sink. And in some ways, the market is not good for this. Teams, there's not very many trade partners that they'll be able to find that will be suitable or attractive. And, that's the sad thing about this league in some ways for them in that situation. I mean, it's not sad. It's just the reality of the league because of the salary cap, the new salary cap. Smooth saying at Shaq Lindsay, I don't think the Bucks front office will force him to play for them. Remember, he got them the chip. There's respect on both sides. I think that Giannis, unlike Kawhi, would play if he's healthy. Because he wouldn't hold out like Kawhi Leonard did. Because also in some ways he's looking at his time on his clock for his career and stuff like that. And he doesn't want to sit out for healthy years like Kawhi did in some ways. I don't know. It's a weird situation. Kawhi is such a weird precedent of sitting out and forcing a team to get him traded. And Giannis could go that route, but I don't think it's likely it's in his personality. And I think that's what you guys are trying to say right here. Let's see. Kareem saying, I really like Brendan Carlson. I feel like he's somewhat like Abaji. He plays well, all around good talent. His play with the 905 is good, but can be greater with the Raptors. I still don't see it, man. I feel like he just has a very big weakness that is just not utilized at his position. In some ways, he just can't hold any ground. In fact, we saw it last night. He's getting pushed around, and he'd get the rebound, and he'd kind of half-ass it or he'd tip it, and then the other team would get it from him. There was also a time where he brought a rebound down, and he's holding it with his hands, both of them, and the guy just yanked it out of his hands like he wasn't strong enough to hold it. There were a couple of signs of good stuff for sure, making threes, being a shot blocker, running the floor, stuff like that. But there's also some real bad stuff too, Kareem, just so you know. And like I said, he may be this close to being an NBA player, but maybe not. In some ways, this is like that's the thing. Player builds people's bodies. They are not conducive to being in the NBA sometimes. Maybe they're too short. Maybe they're not strong enough. And that's what I'm worried about with him. Shaq Lindsay saying there's no respect when it comes to making smart business decisions. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like that our front office is in charge and they're going to do what they do. And it doesn't matter what the NBA wants them to do, the media wants them to do, the fans want them to do, or in some cases, their own players. Stargate saying Bucks will want both Jimmy and Tyler plus draft picks from Miami for Giannis. That may be a good deal for both sides, honestly. That may be a good deal for both sides. Kareem saying at Shaq Lindsay, with Giannis demands a trade, it puts front office on the clock. Last thing you want is to have a player who doesn't want to be there. It will leak onto the court, causing more problems. Well, that may be part of what's the problem already, honestly. Nako saying if Jimmy ain't there, there's no point. That's right. Jimmy's probably got to be in that deal. But you know what? Jimmy Butler this year is showing more signs that he may be washed as a player and that he is on the very much of the decline of the end of his career right now. So he may not have as much value as you guys think he does right now. It could very well be that they have to trade Bam instead because Bam's younger. And in some ways, Bam is more equal as far as like the kind of player and stature that Milwaukee's like, yeah, but we want Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero instead of Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero. I could see that. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay's saying the Bucks don't want Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's got a certain thing about him. He wore out his welcome in Minnesota. And if there's any kind of weird flakiness in Milwaukee, like there was in Minnesota when Jimmy was there, well, he'll call it out and he will either be very good for the team or very destructive. And that's the gamble with Jimmy Butler right there. So I think it's more likely if Giannis is going to go to Miami, they're going to have to give up Adebayo. They're going to have to give up Adebayo is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Let's see. Jimmy's saying, Jimmy Pope, I'm still in the Carlson camp. What he potentially brings is much more valuable than just being able to bang with bigs. The good ones get there anyways. Yeah, I don't know if he will, though. And that'll be the sign of it. We'll see if he gets called up by any NBA team because they all have the rights to get him. And then we'll see if he actually does anything on the NBA level. In some ways, I'm much happier with the decision the front office made because this is a guy who's already proven that he can play in the NBA level, Bruno Fernando. And he's going to be helpful. Trust me. We don't have very good bigs depth. And we needed Bruno Fernando. Brendan Carlson is more like a glorified shooting guard as far as defense. He just can't hold it. He can shoot a lot. He's tall. In some ways, it's like Duncan Robinson kind of stuff. Because Duncan Robinson ain't going to be able to guard Jared Allen and different people like that in certain ways. Jonas Valanciunas, a joker. You know, that's the problem right there is that he can get pushed around so easily, and it's evident. He got pushed around last night, and it's G League guys. I'm just saying, you guys can like the three-pointers and think that he's a cool dude and stuff like that. He probably is a cool dude. But I'm trying to be realistic about what translates and what I saw at Summer League, in training camp, and also in the first two G League games. And I've been paying very close attention to Carlson. And there is a very good reason why his two-way was switched off of him. A very good reason why. Shaq Lindsay saying the Bucks want Cooper. Okay, well, they're going to have to lose all season long and probably lose Giannis Antetokounmpo in the process. I can see that. If you have Cooper plus picks and players, then you can talk to them. Remember, Giannis is a generational talent. I know you keep saying that, but you know what? There's a lot of players that are just as good as him with their bodies. I mean, who's to say Shamshay doesn't turn into somebody better than Giannis down the road? Seriously, you can say it's a generational talent, but in some ways his frame is becoming a lot more common in this league. And Arish Shamshay is an example of this. So, I mean, I get what you're trying to say that Giannis is a generational talent, but man, how many generational talents are there in the league, really? LeBron, Steph Curry. I don't know, man, because in some ways you could say, I don't know. I'm having trouble with you labeling him as a generational talent. I don't know why, though, because in some ways that was definitely true a couple years ago, but right now I don't believe it. I don't think he's a good enough shooter to be a generational talent. How about that? Giannis is not a good jump shooter. Let's see. Drive to the rim a lot more. He makes it seem so effortless and should garner like 10 free throws a game. He's a hooper, and the ball should be in his hands majority of the time. Yes, yes, yes. On some of those drives to the basket in traffic, he just has a really steady layup. Like, I love the way he throws it up. He's done it so many times the same way, whether it's on the Raptors or the 905. Yeah, no, I really like this kid. As much as the Kennedy Chandler's disorganized and chaotic, DJ Carton's calming. And that's why I wanted him to be the floor general last night, because when everything was unraveling and the G League was looking unprofessional and not really like right, DJ Carton is one of those guys who can steady things and get things back on the right page. And that's why I really value him as being the point guard that's got the ball in his hands, like what Kareem's saying here. Smooth saying Giannis is a generational talent, but in the NBA, it's about salary matching or for trades. So the return is always going to be less than what's going on. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this could get to a very similar situation like either Vince or Kawhi. Seriously, this could get like that situation. And in some ways, I don't know how San Antonio's felt about getting Pirtle and DeMar for Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. We know how we felt when we got the trade package from New Jersey when Vince got traded there. It was absolute shite. So, I don't have any faith in the Milwaukee front office. Honestly, they've been making mistakes left and right the last few years, pretty much since their championship. So I could see them flubbing this, and maybe Giannis forces their hand, and then all of a sudden they're getting a really bad deal back, kind of like the Vince Carter trade for us. So I mean, we got to see what happens. We don't know. We don't know. It could be that he's true to the team and he doesn't leave, and Lillard leaves. There's been a lot of different things. I mean, we're playing the Bucks today. So this over speculation of the Bucks right now and Giannis is perfectly fine. Normally, I wouldn't want to do a Giannis hour like we're doing, but we're playing them today. So this is important to talk about. Yeah. Let's see. Look at the Pascal trade. That's a perfect example. You know what? Everybody judging the Pascal trade and saying that it was the worst trade out of everything we've done this year. I feel like you guys are too quick to make this decision because we still don't know who we're drafting next year with the pick that we got from him. And there's other things like we need to trade Bruce Brown and see what we get in return for that. So the Siakam trade is not resolved. Sure, the Anunoby trade was right off the bat. We got exactly what is, and it looks like a fantastic trade. Jalen McDaniels, fantastic move, fantastic move. The Utah move is looking really good, but we got to understand that Utah move is a branch off of the Siakam trade. So it's weird because Siakam was broken down and disseminated into picks and a lot of different players. And if you guys actually saw the group of people that we're getting for Siakam in the end, at the end of all the draft picks and the movement of Bruce Brown in the end, this is kind of fair equity for Siakam in the end. That's what I'll say. Everybody has judged that the Siakam trade is bunk and was a bad deal. We got to understand also that the Raptors did not have the leverage once again because of the situation that was going on, and the Pacers could kind of name who they wanted to send to us to make it work to get him out of Toronto. So, in some ways, I don't like using the Siakam trade as some sort of example for things because it's not resolved yet. And we still need to see everything that comes around from the Siakam trade. It's not done yet. It's not done yet, is what I'm saying. That's right. Smooth saying the Vince trade. That's another example. Yeah. Yeah, the Vince trade is way worse than the Siakam trade. They're not even in the same ballpark. The Siakam trade is not actually a bad trade. It's just that people can't see one substantial player coming back for him. They think it's a fail. There's so much more we're getting in different areas. Like Abaji, in some ways, is on our team because of Siakam. Kelly Olynyk is on our team partly because of Siakam, too. So let's see. Kareem saying Nako came with the ultimate dad jokes. That's right. Yeah, it's funny. It's really, really funny he did that. That's normally his joke craftsmanship is a little bit more detailed. Fiercey saying, not Milwaukee sucks. I know that was so good. At least he got us to laugh on that one. That's funny. Kareem Thomas saying, Giannis giving Jalen Brown that fake handshake makes him more of a Toronto man than I thought. Maybe he comes to Toronto. Bucks front office is so bad. They may do a Giannis for battle straight up. Yeah, I don't know if that's likely. I don't know if that's likely. Once again, I don't know if I want Giannis on this team anymore. I may have wanted him a couple years ago, but I think there's something weird with his personality, and in some ways, he's going to get in the way of himself winning anymore for the rest of his career. And I don't know exactly what it is. It's hard to kind of put your finger on without knowing that guy really like in depth, like in his personal life and stuff like that. Trevor's saying, I thought this was the Raptors show, Lex. Didn't know you changed the name to the Milwaukee show. Well, we are playing them tonight. And they are kind of an interesting story this year with their losing and where they're at. This is not predicted. This is kind of really crazy. Them and the Sixers are very, very big, huge surprises so far this year. And well, this is a game preview, and we're playing them tonight. So this is all fair game, Trevor, even though we're doing a lot of talk about Giannis specifically. Kaz is saying that Sportsnet's Michael Grange reported the Raptors were open to signing Trent for roughly $15 million per season, but Trent had hoped to earn an increase on his salary from last year, July 9th, 2024. Yeah, I still don't believe this. I mean, that's not smart offer. I wouldn't have done that. Like, that's why I don't believe this. And honestly, Gary rejected that, and then he signed like a two or $3 million deal with Milwaukee for this year. Something's not adding up here. Somebody's not telling the truth. And that's a report. That doesn't. He's saying reported that the Raptors were open. They were open to it. That doesn't mean that they did. That doesn't mean that they actually. You guys got to look at the verbs in these words. And in some ways, they're maybe clouding things or making it. Because I heard also. I don't remember who it was, but like Gary and his camp kind of said that they never actually offered him anything. You know, they can say they were open to it. And they reported that it happened. It may not have happened. That's what I'm saying. We got to read the stuff and be critical thinking here. Like seriously, why would Gary say no to 15 million to come back here? Because he thought he was really going to get that much more, and then boom, all of a sudden he gets like 3 million to come to Milwaukee. Something's not adding up here, and I really think that he didn't do a consistent enough job last year that the Raptors just let him walk. Seriously, because if he wanted to be in Toronto still, and they gave him a contract offer, and he said, "Oh, that's not enough." And then he saw what the true value on the market is right now with the way things are with the middle class of the NBA. And then he had to go do that. Well, that's really bad business management. In some ways, it's like, what? He's clutch, right? Well, maybe that's part of it too. I don't know. That's interesting, though. You bring that up. But once again, the verbs in here saying reported and were open to doesn't mean they actually did it. Doesn't mean they actually did it. It could be that they saw Grady developing over the summer and like, yeah, Grady's making huge strides. We can't have Gary come back and cloud that position for them. Either way, it happened the way it did. And honestly, I'm not going to over speculate on this because I really am under the belief that they didn't actually offer him something. And I don't know if I'm being honest or they're being honest. We don't know. It didn't happen either way. So Grady having the green light and being in that position is the best thing that happened. And that's what we should be thankful about. Trevor's saying Joel to make his season debut tonight. Yeah, because the suspension's up and this is in-season tournament and Nick wants all hands on deck to try and do better tonight in their in-season tournament game. So yeah, Joel Embiid will be back. He will be back. Kaz saying Gary fumbled the bag and pulled a Dennis. He thought he was going to get more than 15 million a year. Well, I mean, in some ways, the ego of the player may cloud their judgment and seeing the true the field of what he's dealing with. And that could very well be part of what happened here. I seriously do not see the Raptors offering him 15 million this summer. I do not believe that Grange report. I do not. I'm sorry. I just don't. And it never became true. So it's not like we can say it's for sure. Seriously. We can say like, oh, this is true, but I don't see this. The Raptors are not dumb businessmen. And I don't think they offered him 15 million to come play here this year. I really don't. I really don't. Trevor's saying Darko should let RJ continue to run the offense until Scotty comes back because IQ kind of stops in RJ's game. We were having a better result with RJ running the offense. That's just my observation. Well, if Quickly's not playing tonight, well, that's more likely to happen. What you're saying right there. I mean, a combination of Dave Shed, RJ Barrett, maybe a little bit of the forwards bringing the ball up the court makes sense. I mean, I know what you're saying here. In some ways, like IQ came back for a couple games, and he wasn't totally in the flow of what the Raptors were doing before he came back in the last couple games. And in some ways, it's partly because he has to be more prominent and do things with the ball in his hand that he may. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, Trevor. Well, if Emmanuel's not playing tonight, well, this is happening for sure. Nako's saying Grange also reported that the Raptors have zeroed in on Suggs. There you go, Nako. You want to dunk? Exactly. This is what I'm saying right here. Aaron Rose, Michael Grange. Sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt. Michael Grange also reported that the Washington Wizards were going to have Masai Ujiri as their GM like 10 years ago. So there's a lot of this. Nako, you can get another dunk for that because that's exactly right. The Raptors have zeroed in on Jalen Suggs. It's all interpretation. Maybe they did look at Jalen Suggs, but then they were like, oh, no, Scotty's the one, and they took Scotty anyway. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You got to look at the verbs that are in there and reported to and open to. That doesn't mean they did. That doesn't mean they did. They said they maybe were open to it, but did they actually offer him a real deal? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. Cream Sand Lex, do you think Ulrich being part of 905 is detrimental to his development opposed to going to college? We have no choice because we want him here, but I feel like G League hinders the progress. No, I don't. I don't think that. I think you're wrong on this. Once again, you guys want so much for him so quickly that y'all need to stop. You really, really do. You got to let life be on life's terms, whether it's whatever's happening in this world right now. We can't control. In some ways, Shamshe has got to do his path on his path, and it's not what we design his path to think we think it should be. In some ways, he's got to be exactly the player he's going to be on the timeline that he's going to be on. And I trust Darko and Masai and Bobby are going to handle Shamshe to the best and get the best potential out of him. The stories before him are there. Siakam, Anunoby. The stories are there for before. And I'll also say this. Y'all wanting him to do so much offensively right off the bat is just not realistic right now. The best thing for him to do is learn the pace and the speed and the size and the strength of the game. And then he's got to figure out his positioning on defense. He's got to figure out how to get a lot of rebounds and block shots and be like OG and learn the defensive end of the game. And then the offensive stuff will come down the road. In some ways, we don't want Shamshe to be like a 20-point scorer within the first 2 years of his playing. No, that's not how Giannis did it either. Giannis came about with his offense later, and he kind of eased into it over time. So y'all got to stop, Kareem specifically. Just let Shamshe do what he's going to do. Trust Drew Jones on how many minutes he's going to play him. Trust what the actions they allow him to do in the games. And understand that they're doing their best with him. And it's not going to hinder him because he's only 18. And yeah, maybe it would have been better if he'd gone to college. That actually does make kind of sense. But in some ways, it's much better that we've got him in our fold right now. And he's not out there at college and could be on that draft board going to any of the 30 teams. Yeah, he's on our team. He's in our squad. And that is the thing that's most crucial about this. In some ways, in the past, we drafted Jonas Valanciunas. He had one more year that he had to fulfill on his contract in Europe, and we didn't get him right away. Did we get upset that we didn't get Giannis immediately? No, he had to go and play in Lithuania for one more year, and then he came the year after. This is kind of in the way what this is, but because of the situation, instead of him playing on the Basketball Africa League back there like he did last year, he's here with us, and he's getting integrated at that level. No, this is all very good. And none of it's hindering him. And it's just that you need to understand this is going to take some time and let the steps go in the process it's supposed to. Yeah. Stargate saying Maluak reminds me of a taller version of OKC's Serge Ibaka. Great hands as well. I can see Bobby and Masai picking him. All right. Well, we'll do the scout on him next year. And I'll give you guys my opinion on this guy then. I'll remember the name. Infamous saying, I agree the draft is heavy fixed. I will explain why the draft balls picking was televised. Adam was going to bring it back, but decided not to do it. I wonder why. So they don't actually show when the ping pong balls fall and come around and stuff like that. Man, I don't want to get too conspiracy theory on this. In some ways, we'll see what happens. And if something does seem fishy, especially if we're one of the very, very bottom teams in the league and we're still picking like in the near 10 or closer to 10, yeah, I'm going to wonder about that. But I think they're going to give us a fair shot. I mean, look at it this way. We got Scotty, and we actually drafted like 3 or 4 positions higher than we may have done. The lottery was very good to us that year because we went from is recent evidence that what you guys are saying is not true. And it could be maybe they because they saw that they're like, okay, yeah, we can't have them up there. But once again, I really want to believe that this is all on the up and up, and that in some ways, conspiracy theories about this, I'm going to debunk them until we have reason to actually think this. And I don't have any reason to think this right now. I don't. Infamous saying Chris is the same build as Carlson, and he will be fine as he gains more experience and strength. Yeah, but there's differences between Chris and Carlson. Chris is much more faster than Brendan Carlson on the court. He's a very quick, agile person. In some ways, also, Chris may have more hops than Carlson. There's a lot of differences there. That's not a good example of just saying, oh, this and this. And then also, the other thing about Chris is he never really did put the weight on him. And that's the thing. If Brandon's not fast enough and he doesn't have the weight on him, it's just not going to work, man. I'm just going by my eye test, y'all. And I've seen him pushed around and not getting positioned down low. I've seen him miss out on rebounds because other people get to them faster than him, or they just push him out of the way and get them. I've even ambiguously seen him possibly tip the ball into the wrong basket and score points for the other team. So, we'll see. I don't think Chris is the right comparison for him, though. I really don't. Nins is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Nins. Happy to see you in the chat this Tuesday morning. Let's win in the NBA Cup tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. How about that? That sounds fun, doesn't it? That's right. Stargate saying exactly at Infamous, but hey, it's being called conspiracy theory, so I'm going to digress. Well, in some ways, I don't want to get so into the lottery and talking about it right now because we're in the middle of the season. We're just about to start the in-season tournament, and with all things in their right place. Seriously, we can get so draft oriented because we're near the bottom of the standings, sure. But let's understand there's a time and a place, and we can talk way more about the draft speculation near the end of the season. Right now, we still have a season to play. In some ways, I am annoyed by Raptors Nation, not just for the tank for Cooper shit, but for over talking about the draft way too early in the season. It's like, I get it. This season's going to be long and a lot of losing, and that y'all just want to look forward to the next positive thing, and that's getting a high draft pick. But honestly, we have games to play. We have basketball to watch. And talking about the draft so heavily this early in the season is ultra annoying to me. Let's just put it that way. It's very, very annoying. Fiercey saying 11 o'clock cutoff. Thank you, because Monique is not in the chat today. So Fiercey's taking care of things for me right now. I've got about 15 minutes. I'll wrap it all up by then. W stream, and let's get the dub tonight. I like that. And Nako spitting facts. I like that too. Stargate saying, I agree with Trevor. I like this Duke point guard version of RJ Moore. It's more effective, more quick off the ball. Yeah, I don't mind RJ having the ball in his hands and being the distributor and looking for people like that. I think it's been very solid so far this year. I agree with you guys. Seymour saying, eye candy, we win, baby, wins. There you go. There's the sheriff, Seymour Pape, holding it down for us in the province of Alberta. Hopefully, Seymour's doing really well, City Slicker. Good to see you, man. Kareem saying, Adrian Griffin will be making $4 million every year until 2027, thanks to the Bucks. Adrian is at home chilling, watching the 2024 version of the Titanic. Imagine getting fired with a record of 30-13. I know, and the inverse is basically what Doc Rivers' record is in the time since. He's coached the same amount of games as Adrian got to, and the win percentage is totally off. In some ways, Doc Rivers is obviously established NBA person because he's got some sort of protectiveness, and maybe that Milwaukee just spent all their money on coaches and they can't fire this guy and get him out of there. Monty Williams is coaching his kids' high school team at this point. He's having a nice life. I'm sure Adrian Griffin, maybe with Adrian Griffin Jr., and they're just getting ready for the rapture right now, something like that. I don't know what's going on. Insane. Laugh out loud. Titanic. That's right. That's right. Instagram stories. All right, Trevor, thank you for the cue card. Let's do that. We got Aldrich Shamshay celebrating Jamal Shed coming into the game for the Lakers. It's really interesting how Shamshay likes to repost all of his teammates' posts and celebrate them in all kinds of different ways. Really, really cool. Scotty had a couple of posts last night. I remember that when this happened this summer, Scotty was on Twitch and he's saying, I'm going to play LaMelo later on. And he made it sound like we were going to be able to watch him play LaMelo on Twitch, but he never came back that day. He never came back, but they did play and they filmed it. And this is all from like maybe July, something like that. So the Scotty versus LaMelo 2K stuff is coming out in the ads for this NBA 2K tournament that they're doing for people to play. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And I don't know who won that game, between LaMelo and Scotty. But yeah, we didn't get to watch it, but there's content of that coming out. Scotty reposting Garrett Temple's picture of them together, and people are calling the looks of our Raptors on the bench very eclectic. What an eclectic fashion group with the cowboy Bruce Brown, Scotty with his Terminator leather jacket, and Garrett Temple dressed to the nines with his amazing, impeccable suit. Yeah, and it's very, very cool. And Scotty is posting it because he's a fashion-oriented young man, and he enjoys having nice clothes that look good on him. And well, in some ways, the personalities of the Raptors on the bench are kind of fun. And when we come to the cities and our guys are out while they're still out, people can see the very different kind of personalities gelling on our team between Temple, Brown, and Barnes. So that's fun. I like him posting that again. Me and my guys. There you go. Bruce Brown, Scotty, and Garrett Temple. Garrett, there's that post from Garrett, and he's playing a Drake song over it too. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." Slim Duck has got 30th anniversary training camp stuff from Montreal when they gave it to the kids in the preseason when they had the NBA Canada Montreal game, and yeah, that was a fun training. And Chris gave him a bunch of shoes and all kinds of swag and stuff like that. Let's see what Quincy did in the 905 game last night. He's putting on blast his hometown friend, Quincy Guerriere, on his Instagram stories. I love to see that big time dunk. He threw it down on them. It was nasty. That may have been one of the best highlights in the game last night. Let's see. Lloyd is taking pictures around New York City, and there's like a fair he's at. So yeah, that's Lloyd in Chinatown. Let's see who else we got. Jamal Shed has got a picture of Davion Mitchell, his friend and teammate on the team, and there's a picture of himself. Let's see. Jay Nathan has got a stat out saying that he's one of the best defenders out of the rookie class right now. The field goal percentage for people that he's guarding is the lowest out of everybody in the league as a rookie. So people are shooting 32.9% when he's guarded by him. And Ryan Dunn is second on the list at 35%. Keyshawn George, Jalen Wells. But yeah, Jonathan Mobo has the best defensive field goal percentage among rookies this year so far. So good. That's a good accomplishment, Jonathan. And I'd like to see that you're aware of it. Brendan Carlson is celebrating. It looks like his sister, Lexi, is on a volleyball team for Brigham Young, I think, is Bingham Minor. Oh, Bingham Minor. Yeah, so that he's proud of his sister, who's got 467 kills, 155 digs, and 31 aces as a volleyball player. There is the Raptors 905 highlights. DJ Carton, big time stuff with a nice little fake three over to Tyreek Key, who hit the game winner against the Delaware Bluecoats. That was an awesome game. Yeah, and there's highlights from the game last night. It's too bad they didn't win. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Charlie Brown. I really, really am not. I'm going to make all these Charlie Brown peanuts jokes in the 905 chat when he's playing. I will do that. Yeah, they just couldn't get it done. They make some more free throws. They play a little more solid. They take care of things a little bit. They win last night, but no, it didn't happen. It wasn't to be. Paul Jones posting a poppy on his Instagram in honor of Remembrance Day yesterday, and it looks like he has a person in his family that's in the armed services. Jacoby Walter putting Davion Mitchell on blast, his teammate. Also, Pascal's in New York, walking around in downtown, talking to people on the street. People are yelling at him from trucks and cars, saying, "Pascal, appreciate it, man." He's like, "Yeah, I'm a pacer. You guys are not mad at me," stuff like that. But yeah, he was walking around downtown New York when they played the Knicks recently, taking all kinds of pictures. Pascal's awesome. He's such an auteur with his camera. He's just carrying it everywhere with him, and he's making it a part of his life and his social media and his brand. And he really has done a good job with it. He's showing off the amazing field house that he plays in. The arena there has a really cool, big, huge open dining area, and Pascal just kind of likes it. The field house, or whatever that Indiana plays in. They're giving out food to some people yesterday. I'm not even sure why. I guess they were feeding people a little early for Thanksgiving, but they had a whole buffet line, and a bunch of people were coming through getting food from the Pacers players. There's Obi Toppin, Jerace Walker, Aaron Neesmith, and those guys are all involved. There's James Johnson. James Johnson looks crazy right now, like with his hair. He looks so weird, man. He's got really crazy hair right now. And there's Andrew Nebhart of Team Canada also serving the community in Indiana. The good stuff. There's Miles Turner and whatchamacallit, TJ McConnell also standing there with Siakam and the rest of them. There's Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, all of them were there. And Pacers got good vibes, and hopefully they'll be winning more and more. There's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, Scotty, Bruce Brown, and Garrett Temple getting recognized for their fashion around the world right now. Fashion. They're getting their fashion on. Cool Cat saying, I hope we keep Shamshay around for a long time. He's signed to Clutch, so I'm a bit worried. He is our long-term project. Yeah, that's annoying. It is annoying for sure. But once again, we do have some things in our favor. His favorite team is the Raptors. He is a very much a huge fan of the president, and he wants to honor and listen to Masai. And also, Siakam was his favorite player. So, I mean, Siakam was a real one for Toronto, and he still is, even though he's on the Pacers. Hopefully, Shamshay will have that kind of attitude and not like his other Cameroonian friend, Christian Koloko. We can't fear this. Let's not even talk this into existence as far as things, Cool Cat. Let's just allow things to be the way they are and hope for the best. And if we handle the project of Shamshay and get him developed correctly, he can be with us for a long, long time. So I'm hoping for the same thing as you. Tobias saying, how do I get access to the Facebook group chat? Well, you got to friend me on Facebook. You got to find me on Facebook. I'm the only person on there with my name on Facebook. The only person in the world that has my first and last nation. So if you can find me on Facebook, add me as a friend and write in that you are Tobias, aka Ivan, in there. And then you can have access to our Facebook chat during the games. We are in there talking. So tonight, while we're playing Milwaukee, you'll see comments from Trevor, Monique, and myself all throughout the game, just giving our observations. I'm pretty good about being in there this year and talking through most of the games so far this year. And it's been a lot of fun and kind of giving my observations. Of course, it's in text. It's not me talking, but you do get kind of Lex kind of Raptor Freak insight during the game that way. So find me in there. If you're a member of the channel, you should have access to a little thing that will tell you how to find me on Facebook. That you are a member. I see your name in green, so that should work. Let's see. Trevor's saying, let Ulrich develop the right way, baby steps. You're never seen a baby walk before they start crawling. That's right. That's right. He's got to do it all in the right order. And I really do feel like the defensive end is the side he needs to start with and not get too focused on the offensive end. Because in some ways, the bread and butter for Shamshay will very much be rebounding, block shots, and good defensive presence. That may be his most empowering thing. The offense stuff can come later. Just trust me on this, guys. The offense can come later. Good morning, Rapper Freaks from Tobias. And Trevor's got my cutoff again. There's Kareem with the cutoff too. And look, I've got 4 minutes. I'm on the home stretch. And Mischief's here. Good morning, Rapper Freaks and Lex. Good morning to you, Baseman. Now let's do the wrap up, y'all, real quick. Let me check my tabs. First of all, the Raptors do have some new injuries for tonight's game. Emmanuel Quickley is now questionable. He injured his elbow during the Lakers on Sunday night. And some play. That's the report of Blake Murphy of Sportsnet. Thank you, Blake, once again for hanging out with us in the 905 chat last night. That was fun. Garrett Temple is still out also. Jacoby Walter, Scotty Barnes, Bruce Brown, and Kelly Olynyk still on the injury list for the Raptors as well. On the injury side for the Bucks, ruled out for sure tonight, Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton. Meanwhile, Giannis and Gary Trent and Andre Jackson are all probable. So we should see Giannis and our old friend Gary Trent Jr. The referees for the game tonight are James Williams, Rodney Mott, and Musa Dagger, and they all favor the Milwaukee Bucks. And I like Rodney Mott. James Williams is a little nefarious. He can be good or bad, and Musa Dagger is usually not good. Let's just put it that way. That's from my own experience watching them. Raptors 905 lost a 5-point game to College Park Skyhawks last night to be 1-1 so far in the tip-off tournament for the G League. They will play the Skyhawks again tomorrow in College Park once again. Hopefully they can have a better result. My 3 stars of the game were Quincy Guerriere, Brendan Carlson, and Tyreek Key. And I really don't like Charlie Brown. I have to keep saying that. I really, really do have to keep saying that. All right, let's see what else do I have to do. There's no birthdays again today. It's just not a birthday part of the year, I guess, for Raptors birthdays. And that's about it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up right now. Let's hope that the Raptors can get their first road win of the year. And why not make it an in-season tournament game also? Let's hope we can beat that's supposed to be one of the top teams in the East, and they're not. And this is the time that's ripe for the picking. Maybe Darko has something in store that we will have a even better chance to win tonight as far as things. We'll just have to see. we'll have to see how it all plays out on the court. I appreciate everybody joining me this morning for the preview. And you know we'll be back tomorrow to react to the game tonight, no matter the outcome. Also, we'll be setting up the second game against College Park Skyhawks on the stream tomorrow also. I appreciate everybody for the support and the watches and the views and the interest in talking about Raptors with me every morning live on the Raptor Freak channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join like Ivan wants to if you can find me on Facebook. that's the whole clue right there. But yeah, if you join as a member, you get access to a message that will tell you exactly how to find me on Facebook. So Tobias, look around in the tabs on my channel, and there will be a message on there somewhere that will tell you what to do. I think it's in the community tab, and it's only available to members like yourself. So you can see that. So, all right, y'all, thanks for watching. Get out there and touch grass. It's a sunny day in Ontario today, if not still chilly. So yeah, get outside, raptorize your day like Nat Bhatti would, and touch grass. That's the thing. It's like somebody said, you know what? I'm changing my social media platform to going outside. And that's a great thing to do right now. You found me? All right, you're good, Ivan. I love to hear that. Once again, if you have a fantasy team, keep up with it. Set your lineups for tonight. All right, I'll add you on Facebook, and I'll throw you into all the group and the Facebook chat after I get off the stream right now. Let's go Raptors. Let's get this one for Darko. Let's win this game. Let's get the W on the road finally. We need to stop that so that the people can stop saying the Raptors are the only team in the league that have not won on the road yet this season. So why don't we do it in big style in an in-season tournament game? The NBA Cup tonight starts. And let's see that fancy court that Milwaukee's got. And we're going to get to see our Raptors jerseys with the Vince Carter logo on it tonight. That's going to be one of the cool highlights about tonight also. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go